as far as I read your profile, you are a specialist in cracking ancient wisdom. That is what I read about. Today's problems have solutions via ancient wisdom itself. So you gave us a few examples on stage. What else could be the examples of solving the modern day problems using ancient wisdom?
Thank you for the question. This is probably the most relevant question for our times. The world as we know it today is being guided by smartness. My work just says a simple thing, that smartness is good so long as it is guided by wisdom. Smartness by itself is not wisdom. Let me give you an example. All that smartness does, or even education does, or even management education does, is give you tools, techniques, ways of doing things efficiently, effectively, fast, in a desired manner. All these tools are like giving a knife in the hands of a person. If you give the knife in a trained hand of a surgeon, it cures. If you give the knife in an untrained hand, it can lead to murder. The economic recession, the social strife, the threat of war, crime, these are all indications of murder of society happening. Therefore, wisdom is about imparting the frame of mind of a surgeon to the wielder of the knife.
Thank you so much for the answer, sir.
Your first book was how to transform the MBA curriculum.
Very true.
Your next book is, from what we have read, is about mathematics and how we can better relate to it. From this, we can see that you are trying to change the education system as a whole, or a new view of the educational system is needed. That is what is that what you are trying to say, or how can we, in our relevant current scenario, how can we better ourselves in the educational field, educational curriculum?
That's a wonderful question, and I'm grateful that you asked that question. Very often, knowledge is blamed for the crisis that we have. For example, when the 2008 recession took place, they said that all decision makers are MBAs from Stanford, from Harvard, the top B schools, the most respected names. The question arose, what is the value of education if the most highly educated people from the best universities in the world, on which billions of dollars have been spent for over so many years, if they have brought the financial world to its knees, what is the value of such education? Therefore, I felt that I also did my MBA and I also read the same curriculum. Why was it that I was able to predict the recession, and why is it using the same curriculum others are being blamed for causing it? Can I share my worldview, which is based on ancient wisdom because of the culture in which I have been born, the traditions in which I have been born, and the way I looked at it? Therefore, each topic, whether it be total quality management, whether it be strategy, whether it be costing, whether it be marketing, in each of these topics, my book, through 108 diagrams, integrates ancient wisdom to give a basis of theory. On basis of our understanding, actions take place. If the same knife is used with the understanding of immediate gain, as what the CEOs were accused of in 2008 for, they were accused that for their quarterly profit maximization, they were willing to do just about anything. So what is the frame of mind through which decisions are taken? Ancient wisdom transforms that frame of mind. That is not something which can be left to tools and techniques which are value neutral, so to say. So the human element and the difference between a computer doing the same thing, they would just follow an algorithm. But the human element and the human touch is what wisdom is about. What would be the impact of this action on me, myself, in the long run? Many of those who took decisions which led to the crisis in 2008 were just a year ago rewarded with very, very big salaries. They were the heroes. And suddenly, after 1 year, they became the villains. Sadly, some of them were not only unemployed but became unemployable. The ability to look at the long-term impact of your actions before you take the actions is wisdom in action. Now, this is not something which is just restricted to management. The common man in the street loses his respect for any subject in the world which is misused. Let's say mathematics or sciences. Many of the models that are used are mathematical models. In fact, you are debasing a pure science, a highly respected science like mathematics or statistics when you misuse it. When it is said that there are three kinds of lies: lies, white lies, and statistics. Such a pure discipline you have reduced to such a sorry state in perception. So what is that understanding of mathematics which, if it is absorbed within you while learning it, will not permit you to misuse such a discipline? That is what my essay on mathematics teaches. That the way of looking at numbers, and that's where I get concepts of ancient wisdom in. The idea of zero and relating it to Buddhism's idea of shunyata. What does infinity mean? The discovery of the infinite potential of the human mind through goodness and excellence. We should be able to link these concepts in our hearts so that our actions get transformed in society. A similar understanding of sciences is needed through the ideas of ancient wisdom, and that relates both to social sciences as well as the other sciences. One of the chapters of my book looks at the Einstein and Niels Bohr debate through the eyes of ancient wisdom. And there are two streams of ancient wisdom that I use, one which does not believe in God and one which believes in God. So Sanatan Dharma and Buddhism. So how to relate to the Einstein-Niels Bohr debate on quantum mechanics through the eyes of with inputs from Sanatan Dharma and Buddhism. That is one of the essays that I have written. I'm happy that you've asked this question. Thank you.
Sir, actually, highlight your uniqueness in your life you handle this.
Let me reword it to you. I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is that every individual, by using ancient wisdom, is able to bring out his individuality. When you bring out your individuality, that is different. The very fact that the word is individuality, it means you are different from the next person. Therefore, your expression of creativity will be different from the next person. If you have not discovered individuality, you will be copying others. The moment you discover your individuality, whatever you do will be unique in its own way. Therefore, your creativity will be able to create, new insights in other people. Now you could ask your question again.
As we know that failure is the success of the person, in your life any failure which make you successful?
The best example in wisdom is of King Lear and the spider. Would somebody like to relate it? It's failure is the stepping stone to success. Ancient wisdom says that your duty is to do whatever you are doing to the best of your ability without looking at the fruit of action. Whether you succeed or you do not succeed is a separate issue. First of all, have you done the best? Now, when you are doing the best and you are failing, it means that you may not have considered many factors. So the first of all, failure teaches you to find out why you failed. I gave the example of the professor who teaches aerodynamics, who used to say, "Why do bumblebees fly?" And to all the smart answers, he would say, this is 50 years ago when aerodynamic theory wasn't developed. He said, bumblebees fly because they do not know the theory of aerodynamics as we know it. The day we teach them aerodynamics theory the way we know it, they will stop flying, because according to current theory, bumblebees should not fly. Which means that our knowledge is not complete. We have to keep increasing our knowledge, and failure is the best teacher for increasing our knowledge. Because we failed to explain why bumblebees fly, could we expand our knowledge of aerodynamics? That here is another way of doing it. Therefore, failure can be a stepping stone to success. But failure in itself doesn't mean that you should be disheartened by it enough so that you do not try again. Have I made the distinction clear, or is there a further question?
Sir, can you rate Indian economic system and education system and business development sector?
I'm not wise enough to rate anybody or anything. I'm only expressing the need for wisdom. So the more qualified people can do ratings.
So, what do you think an current MBA graduate lacks? What are the things one should focus on?
This is not a problem of just what the MBA lacks. There is nothing lacking in any student. All human beings are born with capabilities which are beyond what we are currently imagining. What is lacking is the ability to bring out those qualities. The difference between ancient system of education and our current system of education is that the current system of education is just investigating the outside world. When you investigate the truth about the outside world, say this, does this earth go around the sun or the sun go around the earth? Is the earth round or is the earth flat? These are all questions relating to the outside world. Ancient wisdom investigates the inner world and says, what is the truth about myself? Which leads to the development of individuality and creativity. When a bird flies, one wing that you fly with, the human being flies with, is knowledge, truth about the external world. The other wing is truth about your own capabilities, the self-discovery. So when a bird is going to fly with two wings, it will fly high and fly far and sustain its flight. When it flies with only half its knowledge, it is likely to crash land, and you may call that crash land an economic recession, crime, social strife, war, any reason. Therefore, ancient wisdom equips you with your individuality, with your creativity, and does not leave it to tools and techniques alone. That is the difference.
Thank you, sir.
So, my question is all about nowadays people focus more on gathering information and developing their knowledge. Which is more important? Is it developing your knowledge or self-realization? Which will be?
Excellent question. That's spiritual. Nevertheless, About 30, 40, 50 years ago, they used to think that information is power. Then they moved into thinking that knowledge is power. My work says that wisdom is beyond power because power is a game and wisdom is not about the game. Wisdom is about increasing the size of the cake that we can all eat. It is not about just sharing the cake. It is about what you can contribute, how you can add value to yourself and to others. It's a win-win situation. The ability to see the win-win situation in everything that confronts you is an ability which needs to be developed through self-confidence, and that self-confidence comes only when you know what your self is. The discovery of the self is that spiritual last self-realization that you are talking about. That is the goal. Once you're working towards that goal, all these are the path. Of course, those who do not believe in God can look at the word instead of self-realization as self-actualization, which Maslow used. So the term is not important. The label you give things is not important. The transformation of the human being, the transformation of the individual to rise in Maslow's need hierarchy, that is being missed out in education. You are rising in the hierarchy of many things, from information to knowledge to using data as the determining force. You're rising in that hierarchy without rising in Maslow's hierarchy. The rising in both hierarchies should happen simultaneously. That's my short point.
Even here, while we are sitting here, the leaves of each and every tree is different. So there is diversity in anything and everything we see. So despite such diversity, is there any way to overcome the conflicts, for that matter, not within an organization or in a professional workspace? Personally, within our families or among our friends, what can we do to eliminate conflicts and difference of opinions? Through your experience, we would like to hear from you.
Broadening of the human vision to include the self-interest of the other person as part of your own self-interest is the root of ancient wisdom. You can say that 7 billion people stay on the earth. They have 7 billion people, different ways of thinking. So how can you think of inclusion? The idea of inclusion is that those 7 billion people stay, but the earth on which they stay is the same. The air that they breathe is the same. Similarly, you said that there are 6,500 languages. How do you communicate in 6,500 languages the idea of inclusiveness? Then, to add to the complication, there are races, castes, religion, traditions, customs. How? Ancient wisdom would say that a simple smile communicates equally in all languages. It touches all religions, all customs, all traditions. They react to it. More so if it comes from the heart. It reaches the heart and conveys the message more than sometimes words can do.
Thank you so much, sir. You kindled our knowledge, and it is definitely the need of the hour. Thank you once again for such a useful introduction.